as we get started. So thank you everyone for joining us for our webinar on MeasureSquare Stone. It's the game-changing all-in-one stone takeoff estimating solution. I'm Kathy Amont, Business Development Executive with MeasureSquare. And a fun fact about me is I love trucks. So right now I'm considering a Dodge Ram 1500. So I look forward to any advice anyone wants to give me about that later. And we have Matt Rogers, our sales executive. He's going to be providing our live demo today. So I'll go ahead and let Matt introduce himself.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, I'm Matt Rogers, sales engineer here at MeasureSquare. I'm a golfer as well. I'm also a former PM. I worked as a project manager, estimator, various hats on the East Coast for stone and tile subcontractors. And I'll give it back to Kathy to finish off the intro here.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Thanks. So before we begin, I want to go over some housekeeping points for today's webinar. We'll have about 5 to 10 minutes left over in the webinar for questions. So if you could, please hold your questions and comments during the webinar, and then also you can leave them in the chat box, and we'll be answering those at the end of the presentation. Also, MeasureSquare will be recording the webinar. So everyone in attendance will be receiving an email of the playback afterward. And we're offering an exclusive free trial at the end of the webinar, so please stick around. And Matt, if you could go ahead and place all the attendees on mute for the presentation.
Got it. Go ahead.
Thank you. So thanks everybody for carving out some time for our webinar and to check out MeasureSquare. So the purpose of this presentation is to give you a 10,000-foot overview of why organizations like Deltile Stone Division had realized that MeasureSquare Stone estimating takeoff solution, it was a tectonic shift that could really help businesses like yours to streamline current outdated pre-construction process. So the bottom line is stone contractors that are utilizing MeasureSquare Stone, they're finishing estimates 80% faster, and they're increasing the number of bids being generated by as much as 38%, which makes what we're about to talk about a pretty big deal. So I want to take a quick look at the agenda today, and then we're going to be providing you with a high-level overview. And then the demo. So we're going to talk about some of the common stone contractor challenges, trade-specific software, takeoff estimating software, and then take a look under the hood. And then this is going to take about 35 minutes, and then we'll have questions. And if you could leave questions in the chat box again. So we'll go ahead and, so the following are common stone challenges, and you can be anywhere in the country. And it's one of these 2 buckets on why people are implementing our stone solution. Also, I'm going to go through these buckets. And so please, if you could, see what resonates with you based on the projects that you're working on now and maybe into the next year's plan. So bucket 1, common process issues, collaboration between your field and your office team, backup and sync or share projects and product catalogs among team members. Maybe you can't share slab drawings with your clients or installers, or you're not able to sync your projects with the cloud among any device to avoid data being lost. And a big problem is you have an employee that left, maybe they're not happy, and you have no way to protect your business data assets with personnel turnovers. And then bucket 2, stone estimating takeoffs needs to be completed faster so you can generate more bids accurately. You can't import PDFs and CAD files. your bids and projects aren't profitable, or maybe you're just tired of purchasing. I hear this a lot, too many slabs or not enough. And you're padding your bids and you're losing because you're doing that. And you want to shorten the new hire learning curve to be able to generate revenue with bids that are accurate. Or maybe you have a team of estimators, they're ready to retire. So you need a stone estimating takeoff software to close the gap for someone they're not as familiar with stone takeoff and estimating, and moving that estimator into that role quickly. And you don't have the budget to hire estimators. So what we're all about is solving these common stone contractor challenges. So the takeoff estimating process, it can be very time consuming, and it's very error prone. So it can be a bottleneck in building and growing your business. So for an example, you might often bid on commercial projects with multiple units, preparing accurate quotes to beat timelines. It can be a daunting process because there are too many variables and steps. You want to get it right. So there are challenges of the stone takeoff estimating process, and the devil's in the details with each step. So here are a few challenges that PMs and estimators likely encounter in every bid. So a product area takeoff for larger products, they're hard to track. Counting slab usages and layouts manually, it takes hours, even days. And creating quotes based on different breakdown types, it's very time consuming and error prone. So this is kind of fun. Just want to take a step back for a minute and look at the evolution of takeoff estimating. I know some of you are still using a true manual approach, simply stated pen and paper. Some of you are using electronic spreadsheets and other general takeoff estimating software. And today, cloud is a must. So you can back up, synchronize, and you can archive your projects to avoid loss of work. And MeasureSquare, we released our first digital takeoff version over 20 years ago. This was for the flooring industry. And then 5 years ago, we partnered with Daltile Stone Division to develop MeasureSquare Stone. So simply stated, we're all about no longer having to use Excel, digitizers, old school software, or under over ordering slabs. So the bottom line is, what we find with most of you are using the manual approach and Excel spreadsheets, which they were created in the 80s, or general takeoff estimating software. It is not sufficient for trade-specific stone. So why would you use trade-specific stone takeoff estimating software? So let me tell you why. Product and area takeoff is based on actual product assembly structure. For example, a countertop with splashes, lambs, and edge finish details. There's no guesswork along project cycles. Counting slabs, usages, and layouts is integrated, and it's auto-calculated based on the takeoff step to save material usage and optimization ahead of time. So creating quotes instantly based on different breakdown types, such as phases, stages, floors, material types, units, etc. So sales reps can respond to the client price requests quickly and win more bids. So MeasureSquare is the official software partner. This is pretty exciting for NSI, also NTCA, and MeasureSquare Stone Takeoff Solution has been adopted by stone contractors, leading stone contractors, distributors, and manufacturers. And so whether you've always done your dimensional stone takeoffs and estimating manually, or you're utilizing existing old school software, we're here to help you, to take you to the next step in your evolution of dimensional stone takeoffs, just like we've done with these leading stone contractors, distributors, and manufacturers, including Dow Tile, Kimna Tile, NSI, Wild English Stoneworks, and Tanza Granite Marble. So we're all about transforming your dimensional stone takeoff estimating process, just like we've done for these clients. So here's some more eye candy for you. Just dropping some names for you that you'll recognize. So Andrew, Lauren Interiors, Beyond Stone, US Marble and Granite. So this is a real world multi-project. It's a 200-unit Hyatt Tower project. It took 10 hours to complete with MeasureSquare. Whereas in the past, it would have taken 3 to 5 days using general software or by hand approach. So the bottom line, Richard Lawley, he's the lead estimator at Dow Tile. He was able to save 80 slabs at $500 per slab, and he looked like the hero, saving $40,000. So other countertop takeoff software, it's great for a little bit of stone takeoff. MeasureSquare Stone is trade specific and it slashes through project times. It focuses on what you need. So hey guys, I'm going to tell you why commercial stone contractors work with us. So simply stated, we put more dollars in their pockets. So I'm just going to hit on a couple of key bullet points here. Increased profit margin, slab optimization. It eliminates over and under purchasing of slabs. Increase and protect your narrow profit margins by ensuring fabrication labor is accurate. We reduce fabricator mishaps by 50%. We complete bids 80% faster, so you're able to do more bids. Accurate estimates increases your profit, and professional proposals increase conversion rates 20%. So contractors are looking for freedom and a value away from owning information technology infrastructure. And as a result, businesses are adapting by making the shift to the cloud in 2022. If you're tired of having that server down the hallway, that's what companies are doing, because the cloud, it's flexible and scalable. The cloud drives collaboration efficiency. It ensures business continuity and disaster recovery. The cloud computing, it's simple and cost effective. So just a quick note, our cloud solution, we use the Microsoft Azure, which has a 99.9% uptime, and it's a world-class provider. And so what do all these companies have in common? MeasureSquare. MeasureSquare, we power over 4,000 businesses and growing, small, medium, and large enterprises. So I just want to give you a little taste of our one-stop shop, and I'd be happy to provide you with an overview in another meeting. But simply stated, MeasureSquare, we're helping stone contractors by providing stone management, a stone management suite. It ties together the entire stone takeoff estimating team management process. So we streamline the bid response process, ultimately helping you with answering more bids, completing 80% faster, accurately, with professional proposals that differentiate you from the competition. So you're outselling, and ultimately it helps you increase your revenue. So we're not just about software either. We're a service company. So as you start your free trial, you'll also have full access to our dedicated world-class support team. And once you say, I like your software, you'll have refresher classes available after a successful deployment to help you keep your team on track. You'll have relevant updates to keep you on the cutting edge, leading edge of estimating technology. So if you have any past projects or current ones, you can give us a call or send us an email, and one of our team members will assist you. So I'm going to go ahead and hand the presentation over to Matt for a deeper dive into MeasureSquare Stone software.
Thank you, Kathy. Let me just take the screen over here real quick. And just to confirm, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let's go ahead and jump into it. You can see we already have some kitchens here. We're going to be doing a multi-unit project here. There's about 300 units here with a couple different layouts within those units. So let's just get started with this first kitchen. We're going to zoom in to kitchen 1 here. And to get started, we're just going to come up to this draw area. From here, we just need to trace out our countertop. So we can come in and we can actually input the dimensions we need. We come down 25 inches. We come across, come down another 5 feet. And now we can just close our countertop here. So we can see our countertop's created. We don't have any material applied and we don't have any seams yet. So let's quickly just add our seams for this piece. We're going to come and choose a vertical splitter here to begin, add one in this corner. And then we're just going to add a horizontal splitter down at the bottom of the stovetop and pull this piece up to create our kitchen layouts. So you can see we already have our layouts. So let's go ahead and apply our material. We're going to quickly select all of these pieces real quick and just apply our ST15 from our project item list. And now we can see we have about 13 square feet for this piece here, about 6.9 square feet for this piece here, and then 2.5 square feet for this bottom piece down here. So of course, we're not done with this kitchen. We need to go ahead and add some more details here. We'll add our splash and laminates next. Before I continue on, I'm just going to click this auto assign product and assign this to our ST15. So now any more areas that I add will automatically include this material with it. So let's again come up to our splash. And as soon as I do that, you're going to see the program start to look for cut to size areas to add this splash to. So we can simply click these 3 locations and add our splash there. And then we can do the same thing with our laminate at the leading edge of our countertops. We come in here and add our laminates. And just like that, we have all of the areas ready for our takeoff. Of course, we need to add some details here. So let's go ahead and find our flat polish. We can pull and drag this flat polish and we can apply it to the top of each splash as we need. And then we can apply that to the leading edge of each countertop. Apply that here. And then the program's going to know to just apply this flat polish here to the relevant edge. It's not going to extend that edge all the way through this countertop. So the last thing here we need to finish is just this Kohler kitchen sink. We're just going to grab our Kohler and we can drop it right in place. And now we've accounted for that kitchen sink fabrication. If we're installing the sink and providing the sink as well, of course, we can account for all of that. Or we can just limit it to just the fabrication needed for that cutout sink. So let's take a quick step back before we move into our bathroom tile. We're just going to quickly select our pieces and we're going to quickly apply our tags and duplication factor to match the number of units we need over here. So we're going to type in 162 in our duplication. And you'll see the program will automatically adjust all of these pieces to have that duplication factored in. We can come in here and we can see those square footages adjusted with that. So we can also come over here, we can add our tags. And these tags we worked with Dowtile to help develop some of these tags. And it's a real game changer in the way that we can organize and sort our worksheets. And it really helps us create detailed breakdowns really any way that we might need. So we're going to use I'm going to say this is our kitchen. This is kitchen 1. And we're going to say this is K101. So just like that, we're done with this kitchen takeoff. And we're going to move on now to our bathroom tile. So now again, in our bathroom, we can see we have 2 of these bathrooms done already. We just have this last bathroom to finish. Before we go ahead and start working in these bathrooms, we're going to switch from the area takeoff to the room takeoff. So let's zoom in. And now once we switch to the room takeoff, we can actually utilize the draw room feature, which is very helpful because once we create our room here, all of our elevations are going to be automatically generated. So we can come in and trace our room. We can close this off again. And you're going to see our walls are created. If I click here, we can actually see all the elevations associated with this room. But let's go ahead and add some details here before we start adding some of our products. So very quickly, we're going to add our door. From here, we can actually choose which type of door we need. We can choose folding or double pocket. In this case, we just need our common door. And we can actually even include a transition strip. So if we wanted to include our saddles, we can include our stone saddles here as well. So we can say, OK. And now we can just come in and drop this door right where it needs to be. And just before we continue on here, we're just going to quickly add an elevation here for the tub. So we're going to pull this across and add our elevation for the tub. And we can come in and adjust the size of this. So let's adjust this to be about the height of a tub. And then we can do this one more time for the vanity here as well. So 22.5. And so just like that, you might even notice on our elevations here, our door is taken out of our room. We can see our bathtub in our elevations as well. And we have our vanity here as well. So let's go ahead and start adding some material to these floors. We're going to find CT30, and we're just going to drop it here in the bathroom. And now actually for these bathroom walls, because we already completed this bathroom down here, we can actually use our profiles. And we can actually just come in here and we can apply our shower wall. We can apply our right shower wall. Looks like I got the wrong one there. We're going to apply the left shower wall here. And then the right shower wall, it's going to come down here. And then we can apply our base elevations to the rest of our room as well. So just like that, we've finished the bathroom takeoff. And we can actually, again, we're just going to come in here and do some housekeeping. We're going to add our tags. We're going to say this is a bathroom. This is B1 UFAS. And then this is B101. And so just like that, we've finished our takeoff, and we can actually get ready to go ahead and move on to our worksheet. So again, we're going to switch over to our worksheet. And here we can see all of our takeoff data that we have from our takeoff tabs. Before we go ahead and do anything, the first thing we want to do after we changed anything in our takeoff is hit reload. So we're going to quickly hit reload. We're going to see some of the pieces we just added get loaded in here. So from here, we can see we have everything we need in our project. We have costs, sales pricing, gross profit, sales tax, lengths and widths and thicknesses and square footages. However, we might not want to send this to a client or maybe a vendor to get pricing. We can actually come in here and we can create another worksheet. So we're going to say new, and this time we're going to create this one from our template. So we're going to choose our vendor quote and hit OK. And you're going to see this vendor quote is actually prepared to be just intended for vendors. So you can send them the sizes of your pieces, the square footages, and they can come back to you with different pricing for your different materials. So we can scroll down here a little bit. We can see the different kitchens and bathrooms that we have in here. We can actually create another template in here. So we're going to actually create a new one for a bid proposal. And this is going to be more client facing. So this is going to pretty much just have your square footages, your sales amount, your tax amount, and then a breakdown of rooms. So we can actually see here our unit types, our trades, and our item names. And I mentioned the tags earlier, so let's go ahead and come in here and add another column for our room type. So we can hit OK. So now we can see we have our bathrooms in here. We can actually include this as part of the group as well. And with these tags, we can actually sort and reorganize all of our data. So instead of a breakdown by unit type here, we can actually pull out this room type, and we can get a quick breakdown of bathrooms and kitchens at a glance. And we can even come here and collapse these to just see line item views of these bathrooms and kitchens. So we're going to expand these real quick. And from here, we can actually see on the side here, we can update our tax, we can update our freight, add any discounts or deposits that we might need, and include any terms and conditions that we might have. We can actually choose from a set list, so you don't have to rewrite your terms and conditions every time you create a new project. So from here, let's go ahead and continue on to our slab optimizer. We're going to come up to the top. And again, just like we did with the worksheet, we're going to make sure we want to load all of our data. So we can hit load, and we're going to choose our bid proposal here. We can hit OK. And now you can see we have our cut table here. We have all of our pieces with the lengths and their widths and the quantities associated with those. Of course, we can edit any of these if we need to. We also have our slab sizes here. So this is where we can add or remove slab sizes that we might need. So we can actually, let's delete this row, and let's actually change this size to 72 inches. Another thing you might notice here is the quantities. So you can see we have 50 slabs for the smaller slab size, and then we don't have any quantity for this larger slab size. This is basically telling the program we have an infinite supply here, and we can pull as many as we need. But for the smaller slab, we only have 50. So the program will work with that to create the most efficient layouts based on what your cutting level is. And with that cutting level, we have some complexity here. So we have options to account for whether you're using a bridge saw or a CNC or a water jet. Whatever you're using, we'll be able to factor that in to your cutting layouts. So for example, if we were using a bridge saw, we would use a setting 2 today. If we're using something like a water jet that can get some really intricate cuts and get really complex, we're actually going to come down and choose level 6 today. We can also set the first cut direction as well as our blade width here. But let's go ahead and just hit start cut for this ST15 material. So this usually takes about 30 seconds to run through and create your layouts. So while this is going, I'm just going to quickly talk about some of the ways you can export these layouts once they're ready. So we have our export to PDF, which basically gives you a page for each layout, and you can bring that and review that, hand that to your guy in the fabricator house or warehouse and let him get started on his cuts. Or we can export this to CAD. So this exports a DXF file that you can open up in AutoCAD, or you can send it straight to your DXF machines to start your cutting. Of course, you can also export your cut list here to Excel, and you can even import a cutting list to Excel as well if you just want to create your layouts that way. So we can see we have our layouts loaded now. We can see we have about 20 different layouts here for each material, for these materials. We can see a header at the top with a nice summary of all of this material. We can see the different slabs we have. So we have about 150 of the larger slabs and only 46 of the smaller slabs. We get our total slabs, our total waste, and then our yields as well. So we can scroll down here. We can go through all of our layouts. We can actually zoom into some of these layouts if we want to. And if we needed to find a certain piece, we can actually come back to our cut table and we can click on this K0 2.1, and it's actually going to go and find all of those pieces for us and highlight those. So we can see exactly where they are at a glance. So now that we're done with our slab optimizer here, we're going to jump back and we're going to go ahead and create our bid package. So let's go ahead to File, and we're going to say Print. So from here, we're going to get a nice print wizard that's going to let us include whatever we want to include from our takeoff or hide whatever we want to hide. In this case, we're going to include all of our tabs, and we're going to just select our bid proposal here today. On the right here, we have our options. So this is where we can kind of reorder our bid package if we need to. We can see we have some diagrams in here or some screenshots, and we can even scroll down here at our company name and our company logo here as well. So let's go ahead and hit OK to get our nice print preview. I'm actually going to zoom in here to a whole page so we can get this a little bit bigger. But here we can see we have our estimate file. We can scroll down here a little bit. We'll get to the end. We'll have a nice summary at the bottom. And we'll even get to see some review of our takeoff. So we'll get a nice screenshot of each tab to kind of give us a nice review and touch back on what we did take off. And then we can even come down here and we can see we have kitchen layouts for each kitchen that we have as well. So we're going to see we have our kitchen 2, our kitchen 3, and then each kitchen below that. A nice thing about the room function is when we include those as well, we actually get the entire plans as well as the elevations as well. And this is something that a lot of customers use for preliminary shop drawings to give to their draftsmen as an idea to start. And we've even had some people that just use these as their shop drawings. It has all the dimensions, all the layouts needed. It's perfect for the installers when they're on site, knowing what to install and where they need to install it. So with that, we're going to jump back out of here, and we are just about wrapping up the demo, so we can go ahead and hand it back to Kathy.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Do that there. Okay, so Matt, let me have you, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and touch upon the takeoff estimating process here.
Yeah, of course. So MeasureSquare, we're really just trying to simplify your takeoff estimating process. Just import and scale the project drawings you need, copy multiple objects to reuse those for similar areas elsewhere, apply your tags so that you can resort and organize your data and create really impressive detailed breakdowns. And then from there, you can just quickly and easily create professional proposals and quotes and determine the accurate slab counts you need for each material on every project. Of course, all of this gets integrated into the cloud, so you can share and access your projects wherever you need, and share those with the different coworkers for review or collaboration. Thank you, Kathy.
Great. Thanks, Matt. So if you're interested in taking a test drive for free for 2 weeks, this is how we're going to work together. This is over the next few weeks. We start with week 1. We get you signed up for the free 14-day trial. And week 2, training continues for the trial. And you have full access to our support team. There we go. And if you have a bid that you're working on, we'll help you get that bid out the door. You can email that over. And then week 3, I'll reach out to you and review the impact that MeasureSquare Stone has had on your organization. And then we can move you to the customer acceptance. And then the premium onboarding begins. And we have ongoing support as part of our service. So we'll be sending you a follow-up email with a link to sign up for a free 14-day trial. But please feel free, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, and we're looking forward to providing you with that free test drive. And so we did get some questions. Some of you sent them over before the webinar, and some of you mentioned some questions on our chat. So we'll try to answer them, but we might not be able to answer all of these. So we'll get back to you with an answer to your question after the webinar. And you're welcome to stick around and hear us provide answers to those questions. So Matt, I'm going to go ahead and read you the questions, okay?
Thank you, Kathy.
Can the slab optimizer account for veined or directional material?
Yes, so there are different ways to account for that. We can definitely account for those directional materials. And when you're setting up your slab optimizer, you can kind of tell that, hey, I want these pieces to stay the way they are orientated. And it will keep that vein direction consistent with those slabs.
Okay, and here's another question. We currently have an Excel template for all of our estimates. Can we export our takeoff data to these Excel sheets?
Yes. So all of the worksheets, you can export those to a CSV file that you can import directly to your Excel sheets.
Okay, and regarding the tagging feature, can these tags be used for other data sets instead of the room type, unit type, and room number you showed in your demo?
Yeah, so I use the tagging feature today for this multi-unit project for the different unit types and room types, but those can be used for whatever you guys may need. So if you guys want to estimate your project by floor, by phase, by building number, however your project is broken out, you can adjust those tags to be able to use those however you need.
Thank you. It says, we work on large projects with multiple phases. Can MeasureSquare separate our estimates based on these phases or tabs? Yep.
So similar to the tagging feature, we can actually we can estimate our worksheets. You saw today we have our different kitchen and bathroom tile tab. We can actually separate those out to create 2 separate bid packages for those. And we can include those as one bid package or create separate bid packages for those. And we can also set phases for the project. So we can set phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and have your estimate file broken down by those phases as well.
Okay, and that's all I have, Matt. Can you see the chat?
I see a couple other questions here. So first one, we have a bathroom takeoff with 3D rotation. Yes, that is something we can do. Let me actually jump back. Kathy, do you mind if I take it back real quick? Let me
show no, go right ahead.
The 3D view of our bathrooms. So for example, with this bathroom that we have completed earlier, we can actually zoom in here. Again, we can see all of our walls, but we can actually come up to this view 3D option, and we can view this room in 3D to get a kind of good view of this in 3D and maybe present this to a client if we want to as well. So thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Stephen, for that. I think we have another question from Alejandra. Can we open any takeoff from other MeasureSquare versions? So that's a great question, Alejandra. Thank you. MeasureSquare Stone and Tile and MeasureSquare 8 are currently separate products. So we can't currently open MeasureSquare 8 files in MeasureSquare Stone and Tile, unfortunately. It looks like that is the end of the question. Does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to add those to the chat. We can definitely get to those. It looks like
Did
that's.
anybody have any other questions? Oh, there's one.
Can you export the takeoff into CAD? And how does sharing a project with another? Let me start off with Steven's question. So can you export the takeoff to CAD? So yes, we can export the slab optimizer to CAD to create our layouts in CAD, and we can actually export these entire pages to CAD. So if we have a room that we want to export to CAD with all of those details in that, we can export that as well.
Okay, and then there was another question.
And then there's yeah, I see that from Jim. How does sharing a project with another use work for collaboration? With another user. Yes. So yes, great question, Jim. Thank you. So we can share these projects. So of course we can share these projects with another user. And as once you share this project, they'll be able to edit and change this and save this going forward. And you guys can a couple different ways to handle this. But this is all shared through the cloud, and you'll be able to access that whether you're working from home or from your office. You'll be able to access that through MeasureSquare. And then another question from Don: can you demonstrate how the product pricing is entered? That's a great question, Don. I can definitely show that real quick. And we kind of jumped over that today because we're trying to do a high level overview. But let me take back the screen here real quick. That's a great question, Don. We have our project item list and our product database here on the left side. So our product database has all of our products and all of our cost and pricing details within those. And then our project item list has those same details once we pull those products into the project. And we can actually come in here. So for the CT30, if we double click on this, we can see we can adjust our tile size, we can adjust our sales pricing, our cost pricing. If we are buying this tile by the box or by the pallet or however we're buying it, we can come in here and check that as well. And so we can kind of order for the amount that's needed as well. So we can do this with all of these products in here. We can change any product that we might need to change. And of course, there's different product types in here. So we have a cut to size, our ceramic tiles. We can add our labor, any underlayments, adhesives, thin sets. All of that can be included into these takeoffs. So thank you, Don. That's a great question. Continue here. I'll stop sharing for just a second. And I see a question about a vein match. So our MeasureSquare is intended to be used for large scale projects, which kind of works against the vein matching needs. So it's much easier for us to set the vein consistently. Vein matching would be a little bit more in depth and not really something that MeasureSquare can do, unfortunately, at the moment.
Can the slab optimizer provide the number of slabs required for various thickness?
Yes, that's a great question, Don. So the slab optimizer can be adjusted. So when you are going through your project, if you have different sizes of your slabs, so if you have countertops that are maybe 3/4 inch thick and other pieces that are 1/2 inch thick, we can create different products for those. And when they get sent to the slab optimizer, you'll just have different slab sizes for those different types of pieces.
Looks like vein matching will be featured coming up in the next update based on the product team.
Yep, that's a great point, Stephen. We do have something in the works to kind of get with that the vein matching, some dry lay features to help kind of lay out those vein matching features and get everything the way you guys need it with those vein matches. Thank you.
Any more questions? Put those in the chat and Matt will answer those? The
Great,
trial is free. Yeah,
great question,
sorry.
Jim. The trial is free. Yes.
You don't even need a credit card to sign up for that.
Yeah, no credit card, so you don't have to worry about forgetting about the trial either. You'll just sign up, and then if that 2 weeks expires, that 2 weeks expires.
And once you sign up, it doesn't begin until you actually start using it. So it's waiting for you, ready to go. Start up. How long does it take an old school estimator to learn your software? What about training if we purchase?
Some good questions here. So some old school estimators, if you guys are working with pen and paper, or maybe you're still like using the kind of highlighter and scale method, it's pretty similar. It's pretty straightforward in terms of the learning curve. It usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get a good handle on it. And especially if you are using current projects, one thing we like to do is if you have a project that you're working on, we can actually help you guys work through that and get that bid out the door so that you guys can kind of learn while you're working on an actual project.
Yeah, and if I may, the setup in the beginning to get your tax tables in there and your terms and conditions, once that's done, everything's down to a click. And people tell me it doesn't take long to make it sing. And that's what we have our premium onboarding available. Matt provides excellent training for the Stone product to help you to make it your own.
Great point, Kathy. And Jim, I see your question about training if you purchase. Yes, anybody that purchases MeasureSquare gets 2 free training sessions automatically, and we can use those however you need. So if you want to kind of work through a project that you're working on or kind of set up your basics, we can use that however you guys want to set that up.
And then we also have additional training available. We have for the premium onboarding package for training teams.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, any other questions? So it looks like that about wraps it up for now. If you think of something later, please feel free to email us, and we'll be happy to get back with you with the answers for that. We look forward to following up with you after the recording. We'll be sending out. Oh, does NTCA and NSI members get a discount? Absolutely. There's a special package that members for NTCA and NSI has been negotiated on their behalf, and I'll be happy to share that with you. It's for training, also for the annual license.